say that we care about indie and self-published authors, then we need to have a conversation about Kindle Unlimited. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brie and this is 4 Paws in a Book. Today we are going to be diving into a very hot topic, and that is Amazon and Kindle Unlimited and who it's really hurting. There is absolutely no way that we can go about saying that reading isn't political, especially in today's current political climate. We're worried about book bans, we're worried about libraries being defunded, and we're worried about the access to books itself. And there's been a really big push to boycott large corporations such as Target, Walmart, Starbucks, and Amazon. The problem is that with Amazon, we have Kindle Unlimited attached to it. These boycotts were designed, they were created to make companies change their policies, rethink the way that they are approaching DEI, and along with a whole slew of other things. It is a well-known fact that Amazon in the long run is not great for publishing. They lose money on books. When they sell books at such a highly discounted rate, they're not making any money off of them. What they are trying to do is get you to buy a book on Amazon versus buying it from an indie bookstore or Barnes & Noble or something like that, because what they're trying to do is drive out the competition. They want to become the sole distributor of books so that they can hike the prices right back up. And trust me, I do not agree with that. That's not something that should be happening. We don't want that in publishing. It's not ethical, definitely. It really shouldn't be legal, but that's a whole nother conversation. But the fact of the matter is, canceling your Kindle Unlimited subscription isn't doing what you think it might be doing. Because like I said, Amazon does not make a ton of money off of books. And so therefore, when readers are canceling their Kindle Unlimited subscriptions, Amazon is not seeing that hit. But unfortunately, those self-published and indie authors are. It has been a conversation all over threads about how this Kindle Unlimited boycott is killing authors' sales, specifically ones that rely heavily on Kindle Unlimited downloads. One author posted that they recently logged into their royalties dashboard and really contemplated the fact that being a full-time author wasn't a viable option anymore. Because behind every book that you see on that Amazon homepage is an author that is trying to fulfill their dream. But it's also an author that had to pay for a book cover design, for marketing, for advertising, for editing, for the ISBN number. Like, there's a whole slew of things that have to be paid for in order for a book to be published, even when you are self-publishing. And those upfront costs are paid out of the author's pocket. And unfortunately, when the sales go down, those costs don't also go down. They still have to pay those. When you're thinking about book sales and you're thinking about authors, it's really easy to think of the New York Times bestsellers and how those authors are doing just fine. But that is not the reality for the vast majority of authors that are out there today. For most authors, every single sale matters. Every download matters. For most authors, when readers say that they are going to cancel their Kindle Unlimited subscription, it's not just a statistic. It's not just a number that's going down on a spreadsheet somewhere in a dark computer. It is their groceries, it's their electric bill, it's their rent, it's the ability to publish new books in the future. Because if they don't have sales and they don't have income, they can't publish anything else. Kindle Unlimited isn't just a nice bonus. For a lot of authors, it is the primary way that an author can receive an income. Here is how Kindle Unlimited works, if you are unfamiliar with it. With Kindle Unlimited, you pay a flat fee every single month and you have access to the entire Kindle Unlimited catalog. Now, authors get paid when you read the pages of the book. So it does not matter if you download it, it does not matter if you put it on a wish list or anything like that. They get paid per page that is turned. That means that when you're reading on Kindle Unlimited, you are literally funding an author's dream one page at a time. But here's something that a lot of people don't realize when they are thinking about Amazon and the potential boycott. Now, obviously every contract is different and I by no means am an expert on this, but from what I've researched, a lot of contracts state that to be on Kindle Unlimited, they have to be exclusive to Amazon, which means that when Amazon sales drop, they can't just pivot to another platform. And Kindle Unlimited reads rely very heavily on statistics, on listings, on rankings, and things like that. And so with Amazon sales dropping, that means that these books are falling faster and faster down these ranks, and they're not going to get seen on the Explore page. Less visibility means fewer future readers, and that means fewer sales. It's a vicious cycle and it can detrimentally impact an author's career, an author's mental health, the ability to want to create anything anymore. There's this rumor going around that the Amazon boycott is going to hurt Jeff Bezos and we have to, attack the millionaires and the billionaires, we the little people. Here's the thing, spoiler, Jeff Bezos is not the CEO of Amazon anymore. He stepped down in 2021. He owns less than 10% of the company. So yes, while I agree, there are much better places to shop for things, especially not books. If you have the ability, there are better places to purchase books than Amazon, but readers canceling their Kindle Unlimited subscriptions is not doing what they think it's doing. Jeff Bezos does not care if you cancel Kindle Unlimited. The idea that's going around that we are boycotting these companies of the people that were at Trump's inauguration and cheering and whatever, the real money behind Amazon is giant investment firms. They are corporate stakeholders, and you boycotting them does very little to their bottom line. None of them are going to personally feel that boycott. It's not going to affect how they live their life on a day-to-day basis. But you know who it will hurt? The author that hit publish on their debut novel and is just trying to get it out in the world. And disproportionately, it's going to affect marginalized voices. It is hard enough to get books into bookstores from POC authors, from queer authors. It's hard enough to find those in stores physically. It's hard enough to get those into libraries. If we also are restricting our access to them on Kindle, that is hurting the progressive movement. That is hurting our authors and our readers, our kids, way more than it's hurting any stakeholder. KDP, or Kindle Direct Publishing, and Kindle Unlimited are giving a voice to marginalized authors and marginalized stories that have historically been gatekept by traditional publishing. With these platforms taking a hit, then these authors have to try and enter this wildly competitive market that is predominantly white, cis, female, heterosexual authors. Trying to step into the traditional publishing market when you are not a white cis het woman is very difficult, and it's something that is almost impossible to do if you don't already have a platform. What I don't want you to get out of this is that Amazon is perfect, because it is definitely not. I hope that I tried to convey that message that Amazon is not a great company. And if you're boycotting for your own personal reasons, I fully respect that. You have to do what you believe is the right thing to do, and I'm not trying to tell you how or where to spend your money. What I'm trying to do is educate on who is being impacted by these boycotts. We have to be really careful when we are trying to have a voice and trying to speak up for people, that we understand who is getting caught in the crosshairs. Canceling your subscription to Kindle Unlimited might make you feel good, but it's not the billionaires that are going to ever see the effect of that. It is those self-published authors. If you really want to see sustainable change, then there are ways to boycott responsibly. But we just have to be careful and realize who the boycott is impacting the most and whether or not that cost is worth it. If you feel like boycotting is something that you still feel is the correct thing to do, if you feel like your money is spent better elsewhere, then there are other ways to help authors. Leaving reviews on different platforms, Goodreads, Storygraph, Fable, all those other things. Every review is helpful. Every time that you talk about a book, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube or any TikTok, whatever, you're helping to get the word out, and you're kind of using your platform as a megaphone for the authors. Shoutouts really do go farther than you think. There are a couple of authors that I follow on Thread, and it's so adorable because I'll see a post and it'll say something like, okay, which booktuber, which booktalker shouted out my books today because I sold 20 books, or whatever it is. I got 10 new Goodreads reviews, and it's so cool because I, for one, like I've always said, I can't write a book. That's not my area of expertise. But what I can do is make sure that an author's dream can become a reality. That's something that I always want to make sure that I am doing, and I'm going to use my platform to do that. So even if you're a small channel and you don't think that your voice is loud enough, shout out those books that you love. Also, follow your favorite authors on social media, because a lot of them are starting to do Kickstarter projects and Patreons and things like that that help to supplement their income as these Amazon sales are dipping. If you financially can support an author, that is a great way to do it. In today's world that seems so dire and hopeless, there's a lot of black and white thinking, and I think that we need to find the gray area. We need to find the middle ground, because it's not about being perfect all the time or doing everything exactly the way that you should. It is, however, about choosing actions that will actually lift authors up. All right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. I don't want this to come across as preachy or anything like that. I don't want to tell people how and where to spend their money, but I wanted to educate. If people were thinking about canceling their Kindle Unlimited subscription, maybe take a second look at it. Listen to the authors that are speaking out and showing that this is really harming them and really hurting their way of living. I would love to have a conversation with you guys in the comments, but please make sure that you are keeping it respectful. We are not going to be hateful or rude or anything like that. I know that when you start talking about political things, the trolls come out. Please don't do that. We'll just block them. It's fine. But let me know down in the comments below what you think of this. And if you are not feeling chatty, do a sunshine emoji. We'll put a little bit of brightness back into our day. If you're interested in checking out some self-published authors that most are on Kindle Unlimited, I'm going to put a couple of videos where I talked about Spiffbo, which is a self-published fantasy competition, and I've done a lot of work with them. So go check those out. I will leave them linked right here. And if you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little button that you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, and my Patreon are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.